Okay, everybody, hello. As you can see by this tape recorder here, that it's already been recording in the record mode, obviously, at 3 hours, 32 minutes, and now 15 seconds. That's right. So check it out. Check it out. Alright, now, today's date is, I believe it's the 12th. The 12th of April, 2021. Trust me, baby cakes, you want to stay with this video. Now, I'm going to have to talk fast in this video because I want to be able to get as much information in this video in the shortest time period possible for many reasons. One of those reasons being not wanting it to eat up my battery power on this phone. Now, the purposes of this video is being made so that I can then expose what's going to be detailed within it, and also make sure that when you watch this video, you click on the description so you can see any pasted evidences, including YouTube playlist links, URL links, so you can bring those links up and scrutinize the evidences exposed within the YouTube videos of each playlist. Now, if that doesn't happen today, it will happen in the very near future, so just please be patient and please come back to the YouTube video. So, alright, hold on. Now let's see if any incidents occur anywhere around me as a direct result of anybody being propped up around me as I'm making this video. I am at Vons grocery store in La Jolla, California. So researching gang stalking crimes extensively. I'm going to give you a minute to go get a pen and piece of paper so you can write down some of my any of my descriptions or all of them. That way you don't have to come back and watch the video in its entirety in order to, in case something sticks out for you that you might want to immediately research. Now, so while you're doing that, let me just check my, I'm over here at Vons charging some of my phone chargers. Most of this video is going to be pertaining to making predictions about, detailing my new hiking strategy. This crime of gang stalking intentionally made me homeless from 4 apartments in Michigan, 1 in Tennessee, and I've been gang stalked to every single wooded area that I've utilized in San Diego since I arrived in San Diego on 8/8/2011. Up to this very date. And today's date is April 12th, 2021. So that's 10 full years. Okay? That this has been going on not just along my route, but also at every single wooded area that I've been forced to utilize as a direct result of this crime gang stalking me from Michigan to Connecticut to San Diego. Arriving in San Diego from Connecticut on 8/8/11. Now, when you research the community-based harassment connected to gang stalking crimes, you'll see that that is a huge portion of this crime, and that is directly connected to the harassment that I've endured along my routes, which I'll talk about briefly in this video, and which will be directly connected to any links pasted in the YouTube video once this video gets uploaded to YouTube, and concerning the props that are propped up around me, and even at times directly towards me, and the destruction and theft of property at wooded areas. Okay, so that should have gave me enough time to go get a pen and piece of paper. So I'm now going to segue into the descriptions. Hold on a second. So I'm now going to segue into the descriptions pertaining to this particular video. This video applies for any and all dates in reference to all predictions and any staged events that occur concerning me, about me, around me, towards me, against me, at wooded areas and or along my routes. Now, my fellow American citizens, pay attention very, very, very closely. It is up to you to do your research about what gang stalking is and what it does, if you don't know about it at all. And you're going to be able to see that when you hear what I expose and then I identify certain methodologies that they use, you're going to be able to research those specifically by typing in their descriptions, because I'm going to give you enough information that will help you do it. So let's segue into, you should also make sure that you research the fact that they intentionally create homelessness of victims. There's tens of thousands of victims of this crime all over the internet, exposing this criminal reality daily on all online platforms. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google, blogs, you name it, okay? And so, this is a reported crime that is going on at the epidemic level in every single neighborhood, town, city, county, and state within the United States. All alphabet agencies are the main implicated host of this crime, sprinkled in with some military exposures. concerning them being attached to the hosting of this crime, as well as fusion centers, state, county, and local police. Now, this crime is involved in massive different amounts of all forms. Massive different amounts of all forms of extreme crimes, including crimes that go all the way down. You see these little two punks here, including from the most minor crime to the most serious one. Which also includes all extreme forms of human trafficking, murder, mass murder, rape, gang rape, racketeering schemes, insurance fraud schemes, illegal probate control schemes, and much more. Organized crime in the system, baby cakes. So why do you think no case is being investigated? Well, I don't know about you, but do you think Hitler ever investigated himself? Of course not. So I think you got the general idea concerning that. Now, please excuse my brief, intermittent, comical postures, but it's just kind of my way of keeping my attitude and my thinking light, because of all the different things that I endured through this demonic crime. Hold on a second. Oh, absolutely. So anyways, so let's segue. I'm going to now segue into some preliminary descriptions. And I'll get into more detailed statements as soon as this individual who's getting water leaves my immediate physical presence. So anyways, so research what I've stated so far in reference to how they intentionally create the homelessness of victims. You can also research grocery stores and gang stalking. Absolutely. Alright, give me a brief second here. I'm going to light my smoky dew. Is that the water machine talking to you? Really? Alright, so while I'm waiting another minute or two before I segue into the subject matter descriptions, hold on a second. Let me give you some additional descriptions concerning what this program is exposed to be doing by tens of thousands of people who are online who are enduring this program. When you go to Google and you type in the sensitization method, DNLP techniques, dark neurolinguistic programming, the direct conversation technique, as well as all these other following descriptions, you want to type them into gang stalking at Google and YouTube. Okay, so Google the name of any type of business: grocery stores, restaurants, movie theaters, banks, post offices, churches, charities, homeless shelters. Who else do we got? What do we got? Coffee shops, pizzerias, basically any type of businesses you can think of. What are you doing, Jose? Any type of business you can think of, Google it to gang stalking. Then, if you want to get more specific, you can type in the name of well-known business chains. Okay. Taco Bell, Home Depot, Sears, Macy's, Starbucks. Okay. Who else do we got? Domino's. So I think you understand what I mean when I say specific names of business franchises. You should also research universities, colleges, high schools, middle schools, food banks, the police, all first responder services to the same name. Now, the reason why I decided to give you this detailed additional information is because when you see all the Google-generated responses that come up by researching these specific descriptions, you're going to see that there is no way that this crime can be implicated to be going on in these descriptions if it wasn't being covertly managed by some sick satanic maggot who's got the power and influence to covertly collude with these types of places. I don't know about you, but some low-level street punk can't walk into a bank and get bank managers and employees to harass a business, to harass the target for them using the applied techniques of this program. Hold on a second. No, because if a low-life street punk went into a bank or a post office or a university and asked individuals who work there to do what they are told to do around the victim when the victim goes in there, these places would say, "Get out of here, we're going to call the cops." So who would be the entity that's got that type of power, influence to do it, to make sure it gets done, and then to protect it all? Who's got the money? Who's got the clout? Who's got that type of influence? And then who's got the influence to protect it all? I think you're getting a general picture. So, let me segue now into, if anybody comes and gets water from this water machine that I'm standing next to, what I'll do is I'll drop my current exposures pertaining to the new hiking area strategy, which is the subject matter of this video, and segue into some additional statements until they leave. Okay, so now, one of the things about gang stalking, that gang stalking does, is that it not only intentionally creates the homelessness of tens of thousands of its victims, 70% are women, so do you have any idea what's going on there? But the system will also make sure that they can keep that culpritly managed. And that's very easy when you look at fake, bogus criminal investigation files connected to gang stalking, how they can create one, combine it with a real or fake badge, approach a prospective property owner that might run a condominium or apartment complex that the victim might be researching online to then go to and apply for tenancy. They will get ahead of the victim, go there and talk to that property owner and or landlord and say, this person's under investigation for specific types of crimes or suspected crimes. And as of this time, we're not able to, we have not been able to ascertain any, at least recent evidences of what we suspect them doing. So what we're going to try and do is run them out of town by giving them the message that they're not welcome here, or by creating hindrances in order to keep in order to prevent the victim from running an apartment. Now, the goal is not to part of the goal of this crime is to run victims out of communities, but that's not because the victim is involved in anything. It's just because what they're trying to do is keep the crime alive long enough so that other additional things that are being done intermittently and or daily can produce other effects that then create circumstances that then those circumstances and their effects assist the perpetrators in breaking what's left of the victim's life down, so the victim can be steered into environments that these filthy whores can control behind the scenes, like homeless shelters, where the victim can be whisked into, and staged events can take place towards them anywhere around that homeless shelter property and or on it. The victim will be then blamed for the event and arrested, and then all these things then lead to other effects and circumstances that are then monopolized on as the program is continuing against that same victim daily. So they want to keep the victim homeless. Now that is the goal of privately colluding with property owners and landlords of prospective places that the victim might want to go to apply tenancy at. They can see the victim is looking up these places by and through monitoring their cyber activity and or any place that they might go to get rental listings. Also know that if you're a gang stalking victim and you're experiencing remote neural monitoring, well, when you see the capabilities and functions of that technology, they're easily able to determine what the target is evaluating and may attempting to be doing. You should also know that victims of this crime are monitored 24/7, every second of every day, and so they can see where the victim's headed. And so they just get ahead of the victim and say, it's in your best interest to not rent to this person, using the guise of this person's involved in criminal activity and or is a social deviant. Now, this assures the creation of the perpetrators that the victim will be forced to remain in the homelessness, which is also being used against the victim. Okay, so when we see just that one, look at that one creative mechanism of what these six satanic bitches are doing, because a lot of the ways these criminally insane murdering whores get illegal probate control of victims is by trying to claim the victim is a threat to themselves, mentally ill, and or cannot take care of themselves. And I'm not going to go into long detailed statements concerning how they can do that. It's mostly done through staged events, falsified police reports, falsified doctor reports, and much more. Okay? So, in order to claim a victim can't take care of themselves, the creation of the homelessness and keeping the victim in it is part of that. I'll just give you a fast example. Say if you create the homelessness of a person, and then you do illegal GPS tracking and covert physical surveillance, you can easily track that person to wherever they may go to rest at. And then they can stage anybody from a child to a teenager to an adult to a property owner to a neighbor to act like that person saw or heard the target or saw the target's property or saw the victim on the property or saw the victim exiting or entering the property. They are then used as a buffer between the target and the cops. They arrive on the scene and either arrest the target or start creating documentation about how long the victim, about the fact that the victim is homeless. Then they'll repeat this bullshit over time, so they can then claim we now got a long history of the person being homeless. And then that gets put on the target's file, incident reports, information sheets, and police reports over time. Okay? Then what these little satanic rats will do is stage an event against the victim, either at the wooded area and or along the routes. And then when the police come, they also stage the witnesses. So when the police come, the police play their role. All these different people are the gang of gang stalking. Able to be achieved, this shit is able to be achieved as a direct result of the illegal tracking. Now, as a result of the illegal tracking, they know where the victim's at, so they can stage the event in real time no matter where the victim's at. So they stage the event, stage the witnesses, everybody blames the victim, and then the police arrests the victim. Then they start saying, well, you got to go to court. You go to court, and then the police say, we believe that this person has got some mental health issues or is involved in social deviant behavior, which suggests that they're not able to take care of themselves or make decisions that are in order so that the victim is safe, like self-destructive behaviors or whatever. We believe the victim is mentally ill and that because he or she thinks she's being stalked by a group of people they don't know, while the victim is homeless and won't get out of it. They'll even go as far as claiming they offer the victim homeless services. But the real goal is that if the victim takes homeless services through the cops, they already know, the victim knows that there'll be gang stalk to the homeless shelter and can even be set up. So if you're homeless and you're staying in a wooded area and you're by yourself, well, you don't have anybody there to worry about staging an event against you, so you can be blamed for it, even though they will stage events against you at a wooded area as well. Okay? Including assaults, robberies, rapes, and the whole 9 yards. So you see, all this falsified documentation about the victim can then be incorporated within the court proceedings, even if it's just an illegal lodging ticket. Because the wording of the police reports is designed to make it appear, well, you know, we got all these different incident sheets of 10 years of homelessness, 5 years, 1 year. We got all these other additional incident sheets and information sheets suggesting that Miss Williams has had a lot of interactions with people, and it appears that Miss Williams engaged in a behavior that suggests she has some type of mental illness. So they take it all and combine it all together. And then that's presented in court and then used as legal appearing reasons so that the court will say, well, let's send Miss Williams to a psychiatric course so she can be evaluated, or let's order her to see a doctor. And then the doctor steps in and he files his falsified mental diagnosis. And this is done for legal probate control schemes. So that's in part the gang of gang stalking, where all these little six satanic rats, okay, will play their role in order to achieve the crime and to perpetrate and create the circumstance that then allows them to be able to say Miss Williams is homeless. So you should also research the United States Postal Service, mail theft, mail delayment, and mail tampering, including of rent, so they can steal your rent, and they know you're not going to continue to pay for it because it'll just get stolen again, so they know that will motivate you to leave while your apartment's getting broken into, including even while you're sleeping. Okay, literally. Okay, you should research the video, YouTube video stalked in San Antonio, which is one news broadcast concerning this crime. Oh, absolutely. Women being raped in their own homes. Literally. And you should also research the YouTube video, Gang Stalking Bullying on Steroids. Now, ever since I've been making this video, this individual has been standing right here, okay? I've been gaslighted by numerous different people who have come up and stood directly around me as they walk by me, congregating around me. And we should always pay attention to, when you research the covert bugging of a gang stalking victim. I'm not saying that that's what I believe is happening here or anywhere else, but I am claiming, though, if you ever look at the links that these little psycho maggots go to, like, say if, let me give you an example. Say if you got a victim, whether the victim is being harassed through clever means by people outside of their homes and harassed in ways where the victim perceives it and or at a wooded area, then what the victim might start doing is yelling or saying something out loud. And then that content can be tape recorded, literally. And then after they set, now these statements are related to things I read on the internet concerning what these psycho maggots are capable of in YouTube interviews, blogs, and YouTube comments. And so after they tape a conversation of a victim, including from a video, they can then stage an event, and then stage the event and put the victim in a psychiatric ward, and then use the contents of what was taped and try and make it appear that those verbal statements were made as a doctor was evaluating and having a conversation with the victim. Say if you're a victim of this crime and you've been made homeless and you're at a wooded area and people are harassing you every motherfucking day, they're stealing your property, they're damaging your property, and they're doing a bunch of different things, and then the victim don't feel good too, maybe on a day. And so when the victim is forced to experience another propped up to this crime, the victim might yell or say something out loud. Well, there's many different ways that these 6 satanic bitches can literally record what you're saying, including using literally your own phone. This is, now remember, these detailed statements are being made from what I've observed on the internet by the testimony of other victims. So they can tape record what you're saying when you're yelling, take that audio file and try and claim that the victim said those types of things in any other setting. A courtroom proceeding, an interview with a doctor you're forced to go through the courts. Because what you got to understand here is that when they isolate a gang stalking victim, they're isolating them so that when all these different types of things can be brought about against the victim, what do you do when you get illegal probate control? You falsify, in gang stalking crimes, you falsify records, you falsify police reports, incident sheets, let's see, there's incident sheets, information sheets, and police reports, okay? So you falsify those. You falsify psychiatric diagnoses. So who is going to be there? Say if somebody got arrested right there, right now, and got taken to a hospital and taken to a psychiatric ward, are you going to, for one, how are you going to know about it? For two, are you going to get up and go there and try to advocate for that person? Of course not. Well, this crime knows it. Are you going to go to court when they're brought before court? They know you don't even know this is going on. Okay? And even if you did advocate for that victim, they'll ignore everything you say. At all times. On every date, anywhere, at all times. So they already know they can do all this to the victim because they got the victim socially isolated. And they know that the victim can't fight back because the whole proceedings within courts, doctors' hearings, doctors' interviews, they know that they got that victim already socially isolated and that the victim will be allowed nowhere to go to get help concerning the corruptions and all the different crimes they're enduring in real time anywhere. So meaning that they can take you, they can take anybody, put them in a fucking hospital, claim that the victim did this or that in a hospital, claim the victim did this or that in a jail, lie about it. Okay, they can even stage events in hospitals and psychiatric wards and jails and then blame the victim for it and use fellow clients and or prisoners as witnesses, false staged witnesses. Literally. So, what do you think the gang of gang stalking is? Where everybody is brought on board to play their role in these schemes, gang stalking being a program. So I think you're getting a general idea. And then when they get illegal probate control of the victim, they apply for federal and state funds in that victim's names, all different types of benefits, or overtake the benefits the victim has already got, like Social Security, and then the victim will literally be endlessly gang stalked in the group home they're put in. And it's also being reported that these 6 satanic whores are drugging victims' food and water with date rape drugs, waiting until the victim gets knocked out, and having multiple men rape women each night, every night, and then videotaping them and selling them to pornography groups. Again, go to YouTube and type in Stalks in San Antonio. So do you really believe for one friggin' second that the police, cyber surveillance being a method of gang stalking, tens of thousands exposing that, do you honestly think the police don't know when a victim makes a video? And if you're exposing their whore ass all over the internet, all they got to do is stage an event anywhere at any time in order to isolate that victim, in order to stop the exposures and to achieve their crime motivations. You should also know that it's extremely reported that gang stalking victims are being tortured through electromagnetic weapons. So they can be made so sick that they can't even move. Imagine a victim being in that position at a wooded area when they stage an event. All their shit can be stolen. Somebody can claim that they heard something on the property and call the police. The police come and the victim is so incapacitated they can't even get up by themselves. Literally. Google all my statements to the name of this crime. Okay, so what you have to understand about gang stalking is that even when you're making a video, they can use specific neural weaponry on you in order to influence your thoughts to get you to say certain things in the video, so the video can be used against you later. Now, these statements are in, the knowledge of these, What I just stated comes from massive information that's been reported online. Consider this. One of the two women that you see in the news broadcast from Stockton, San Antonio, her food and water in her own home was literally drugged. Okay, then they used what is known as voice to skull with voice morphine to nearly influence her to eat and drink that water. Okay, so then the perpetrators who set up covert surveillance in her home could literally come in and rape her repeatedly and videotape the rapes. So do you honestly think that when you're making a video about this crime, they can't hit you with neurotech in order to give you the idea about what to additionally include in the video so those statements can be used against you? They can literally neurally influence you to say this, what I just said. And what does remote neural monitoring and voice to skull work through? Wi-Fi signals. Do you think that I'm able to get a Wi-Fi signal at this fucking spot right here? Of course I am. That's the fucking literally. Okay? What you gotta understand about this demonic mass murdering crime, and remember who's implicated in hosting it, is that they will do anything and everything at any and all times, anywhere the victim's at. Anywhere. Okay? So let's segue into the new HA strategy. Hold on a second. So HA can stand for hiking area. Okay? So say if you got a gang stalking victim who they fucking made homeless. Okay? And remember what I just discussed concerning legal probate control schemes and the fact that they're using the homelessness to as a springboard for it. Okay, including in the ways that I've detailed in this video and in other exposures. What we have to understand here is that they already know your circumstance because they intentionally created it. You know, here's another thing for you to also pay attention to as well. In gang stalking crimes, when you research how they will rent apartments next to, above, across, and below from a victim, look at the lengths that they go to for that. All over America. Even ex-CIA scientist Dr. Robert Duncan has exposed that. Okay? I literally got emails right now on my blog that show me state in 2007 that these 6 satanic whores had running apartments around me and or across from me in Tennessee. I didn't discover gang stalking until June 9, 2009, so how can I be describing a specific, detailed, exacting technique of this crime without even knowing the name of it? Because you will not be able to find out about this crime concerning information that's online without knowing its name. So anyways, if they'll go through all that, do you honestly think that they would not stage an event at wooded areas? If they engage in the community-based harassment of the victim along all their routes and it's exposed that they will gang stalk victims to their homes, do you honestly think that they will not gang stalk you to wooded areas? Of fucking course they will. And the information and the links that I will be incorporating within the description of this video openly details that. Now check this out. I discovered last week when I made a video through my phone, which is what I'm doing right now, that it appears that that it only allows you to make 30-minute long videos. So if you don't see the continuation of my statements past, let's just say 25 minutes, then go into the description of this video, YouTube video, because that's what it's going to become, and you'll be able to see a YouTube link that's going to bring you to another video that will be the rest of this video in its entirety. Meaning that it will be two videos, and the second one is the continued statements from when the video, I don't know why this phone is doing that, but when I made a video last week, it was over, I think, about 48 minutes long, and I discovered when I brought up my SD card in order to bring the video files up, there were 2 videos. So, now remember, so if I don't say thank you for listening, have a great day, and then all of a sudden the first video you're watching stops, that's what happens. So look in the YouTube description and you'll see the YouTube URL link of the video that is a continuation of this one. Okay? And know that for all videos. So anyways, so what these little filthy whores will do, including the fact that, go to YouTube and type in a YouTube search box, Roger Tulsa's Electronic Harassment. Now why am I telling you to do that? Because he is one of many, and he runs a securities specialist firm. And he is one of the well-known individuals who will use technology in order to be able to try to discover if any gang stalking victim is being hit with any type of remote technologies connected to gang stalking crimes and or have been implanted. Just research my statements, baby cakes, and continue to listen. So, yeah. So, he has even been on national radio shows. A couple of those I think are still on YouTube, showing him openly detail the fact that these little 6 satanic whores will rent apartments directly connected, directly around a victim, and or houses, and or condos, and endlessly, sadistically torture the victim with electromagnetic weapons, remote neural monitoring, voice-to-skull, and direct energy weapons, and more, including ultrasonic sound. Now, this is done, it's stated that this is being done for several reasons. I'm only going to mention one in this video. But this is done in order to compel the human being to leave that property, to leave their own apartment. Now, they got many motives of why they're doing it, which can include the intentional creation of the homelessness, because the crime already knows it's going to continue against the victim, whether the victim knows yet or not that what they're enduring is remote technologies or the fact that they're being gang stalked. Okay? So they already know that the victim is going to leave their house, because any human being, say if you got a condo you're renting, and you've been there a year and you've been fine, and then all of a sudden you start feeling really bad. And then all of a sudden you start feeling really bad 4 or 5 times a week, and then every day you're thrown up, you got diarrhea, you got a swimming head, your eyes are swollen, your joints are aching, okay? You're feeling, including if they hit you at extremely high levels over long durations, you can literally even feel compelled to call 911 immediately. Then when you leave your homes and then you start realizing that you're feeling well along your routes, and you feel well along your routes, but then when you go back home, you start feeling like shit again. Your body is going to literally nudge your mind into recognizing that the only time you feel this bad is when you're at your home. Now, when you experience it at the level that these satanic whores are using it, concerning what's exposed online, then the perpetrators will know that you will. The perpetrators will know that you will literally leave your home, because they know what they're doing to the victim, and the simple fact that they also monitor all the victim's activities every day, so that they see the victim looking up where else to run at, or the fact that the victim might be packing their shit up. Well, then they're already getting a general idea that the victim is going to flee. Now, fight or flight is a natural instinctual response in all human beings' brains when the body and or brain is perceiving that something is causing extreme danger concerning the physical integrity of the mind and body. So they already know that these are innate responses that the brain will intentionally induce in order so that it will signal, okay, and motivate the body to leave the area where the danger is being perceived. Okay, so that once the victim flees, whether they allow the victim to rent another apartment or condo or home or not, they know that